Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I am your host. My name is Q. Hip hop. I think in 2006, Nas dropped the album Hip Hop is Dead. I feel like I need to. To research that now. Alexa, when did Nas drop Hip Hop is Dead?
From PrimeMidi.com, Hip Hop is Dead is the eighth studio album by American rapper Nas, released December 15, 2006 on Def Jam Recordings.
Thank you, Alexa. I was right, 2006. So anyway, Nas dropped this album, Hip Hop is Dead, in 2006. Fast forward to 2022, we have seen a huge change in hip hop. You had Soulja Boy coming around in 2008, and people thrashed, trashed, and kicked and isolated Soulja Boy. And they were really saying hip hop was dead because there was the dance tracks. We was doing the stanky leg. Cats was doing the Dougie. We was cranking the Batman. We was cranking the Lion King. Now I went to a school on the north side of Pittsburgh, and then we had a dance class. This was a class in school, and we learned how to crank that Lion King. Facts. Now I can't dance, but anyway, we learned how to crank that Lion King. Real rap. So hip hop has changed so much since even Nas declared hip hop being dead in 2006, right? And we have people like Playboy Cardi, Lil Uzi. We had people like XXX Tentacion, people like Juice World. You got all sorts of different people who are under the branch of hip hop, even if they've gotten rock influences or folk and indie rock influences. These people are underneath that umbrella, that branch of hip hop. And some people, some of these old heads, these washed up old heads, no disrespect, they claim that hip hop is in a horrible place. And it's definitely different now. It's different from the time where it was, rough and gritty and on some East Coast, New York type stuff. The old school Jay-Z's, Nas, Jadakiss, Cassidy, DMX, Beanie Siegel, folks like them. But one thing about hip hop is it's just gonna keep it's for the youth, man. It's for the youth, and I'm 28 going on 29 pretty soon, man. But I'm starting to feel like an old head as a 29-year-old because I don't tap in with the newer artists like I used to. I used to be on top of all the newest artists' music. And now like I'm seeing new names and new faces, and I just don't check them out like that because I'm hating. Absolutely not. It's just because like I feel like I'm starting to get stuck in my ways. But I still tap in with the younger, the newest people coming up on the scene, and they're not whack. They're not whack. That's the thing. But what I have to declare in this episode today is that hip hop is alive. Hip hop is alive. Why do I say that, man? And I'm not gonna categorize hip hop as just the old school stuff for the old heads and the East Coast music and all that. But I recently went to a Rakim show. I went to go see Rakim, and he was at the House of Blues in Cleveland. And it was just, I bought this ticket because it was something to do. I was with a couple of my friends. And it's like, okay, we're gonna go. Let's just go see Rakim. Why not? Like we all love hip hop, so why not go see one of the OGs? Now I only knew a couple of Rakim joints, and I'm gonna keep it funky. Like I love hip hop, and you might be able to say like, well, if you don't know all the Rakim and the Zulu Nation and Eric B and Woo Woo, if you don't know this person, Kool Herc, and all these people, then you don't really love hip hop. No, I love hip hop. I'm gonna just keep it a buck, man. I love hip hop. I may not know all the old school rappers, but at the end of the day, this is the music that I grew up on, and I love it. I love the music that I grew up on, and the music I grew up on was hip hop. So, not knowing that many Rakim songs, I only knew a couple of joints, and the joints that were more so popularized amongst the mainstream, I mean, the Eric B. and Rakim joints and I Ain't No Joke, So these are the hip hop joints that I know by Rakim. So we go to this show, and I want to break this down for you and why I say hip hop is alive and that old school. As long as this old school music is on streaming platforms, it's gonna be alive. That core structure that the old heads love. We go to this show. You might consider it dusty. There weren't too many young people in the crowd. There was some young people sprinkled in there, but it wasn't a young crowd. Dog, I thought I saw DJ K Slay about 3 times. R.I.P. to K Slay. I thought I saw K Slay thrice in this night because that's the demographic. Like people, like legit big dudes who look and dress like DJ K Slay were in this crowd. This is the demographic that was there. You had the old heads. You had the old heads who were still dressing in Echo. And I'm not joking. When I said like the cats were dressing like K Slay, they were really dripped out like K Slay. Big fitteds, big jackets. It was that crowd. You had the ladies. It was a grown show. And I was liking the energy. Like I didn't feel like I had to worry about, because I don't go to no rap shows because y'all don't know how to act. I'm gonna just keep it real. In the performances that I've seen online of hip hop shows, it's the rapper rapping over their own lyrics. I come to see a show. I can rap over your own lyrics. This is what Jadakiss said. This is what Jadakiss said in the verses, because he got on Dipset, because Dipset, they was rapping over their own, like overdubbed vocals. Like they were rapping over their own track. And Kiss was like, y'all could have sat in the car and listened to this on Apple Music. And Kiss had a point. That's the thing. Like, so that's why I'm like, man, I'm not wasting my money on a show for the cat to come out late, dumb late, come out drunk or high, rapping over their own lyrics and letting the crowd do most of the work. Like, just, Dan, I'm not wasting my money on that, dude. I will stream your music and I'll buy your music. I'll buy a record if I like it enough. Woo woo. But I'm not gonna pay my hard-earned broke money to watch you dance around. You ain't I like your music, but you ain't that special. So this crowd, I didn't feel like I was, in a hostile environment. The vibes was right. A lot of old heads in the building. The opener was cool. I'm not going to talk about the opener, but Rakim comes out. And this is what I didn't know about the show. He was touring with Pete Rock. Pete Rock. So Pete Rock comes out first to get the crowd warmed up. Throws on some classic joints. He's like, we going to hop into some classics real quick. So he's like, go Pete Rock, go Pete Rock, go crowd, go Pete Rock, go Pete Rock, go. And remember Troy Ave was talking about restoring the feeling? He didn't need to restore the feeling because the feeling was already there. That hip hop, that MC, I MC, which means I must cultivate the earth. That's a different bar. But he had the control. He was controlling the crowd and everything. And he played One Love by Nas. What up, kid? I know things was rough doing your bid. No lie. I 29% teared up. I kid you not. I 29 to 33%. There was a 33% chance of participation coming from them eyes. I know what I just said made 0 sense, but you get what I'm trying to say. Because there was a bunch of people rapping Nas One Love all at the same time. Come on, dude. I don't know how else to explain it or describe the feeling, but that's what it was. And he played some Mos Def. He played some more classics. Then Rakim comes out. Now, let me tell you, Rakim came out. Rakim came out moving proper. He's an old head, and he's from New York. I think it's Brooklyn. He's from New York, Brooklyn. He had one of his guys in a tracksuit on the right side of the stage, and another dude on the left side of the stage. Now, the dude on the right side of the stage with the tracksuit, he was looking serious in the beginning, and then he was kind of nodding his head. The man on the left side of the thing with the hoodie on probably didn't get checked. He didn't get checked by no security, and he was on point. So the OG had at least one person on point. He did not bob his head once. He did not try to pump the crowd up or nothing. He stood there, and while everybody else was moving, he stood there. I told you he had a hoodie on. He was on point. He was the person that you had to worry about if things went left. I was looking at him. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if he got checked. So anyway, Rakim's out there, and he's rocking the crowd. He's not doing them. He's not rapping over his own stuff. And I don't know how old the OG is, but he was rapping. He was rapping fast. He was like the breath control. I was so impressed with his breath control and being able to recite these lyrics like it's nothing. And when it came to crowd participation, that crowd knew every word. When he put that mic out, they was finishing that man's lyrics. Easy. Easy. They was finishing that man's lyrics. Easy. Easy. And I thought, this is what I'm talking about. A loyal fan base. These folks is 40 plus. And let me tell you something. There wasn't just a bunch of old head Timberland wearing, like that wasn't, it just, dog, it was mixed with some black people and some white people. You had some cats looking like they just came from, stepped straight out of 2002. And you had some folks that looked like they were coming straight from their executive job. If you know what I mean. Like you had some people coming up in there looking like they have like the nice home and white picket fence. What's my point of bringing that up? My point is that Rakim's music transcends the streets. Not the streets, but you know what I'm talking about, that gritty East Coast scene. It's hip hop. It's hip hop. It's hip hop. Everybody loves hip hop. Everybody loves hip hop, man. And I appreciated it. I felt the love in the building. Everybody was feeling good. Everybody was rapping with them. And I'm like, man, this is what these old heads are talking about. This is what they're talking about. Now, when I call myself an old head, I think early 2000s. But this is a real OG old head. Hip hop is alive. He put on a great show, interacted with the crowd, so on and so forth. I want to transition into some more hip hop. I want to talk about an artist that I've been listening to this man's project nonstop just so I can talk about it. And not just so I can talk about it, but because it's a great project. The artist goes by the name of Ryan Cabana. Now, he recently dropped a project which is called Shogun 2 Ronin. So Shogun 2, this is the second installation, and this one has Ronin in the title. Now, what is a Shogun? Because I'm not, there's some real Japanese undertones. Let's Google this. All right, a Shogun. In Japanese history, a military ruler. The title was first used during, see, this is embarrassing. I be getting words that I can't pronounce. During the Heian period, when it was occasionally bestowed on a general after a successful campaign. So this is a military ruler, shogun, and you're going to get these Japanese cultural references throughout this project. Now let's talk about this project, and just to sum it up, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. I'm going to say some things about it and mention some high points about the project. Now, It's about 9 tracks. It's a short listen. There's some songs that are less than 2 minutes, and then the intro is Ryan Cabana talking. Now I don't know where Ryan Cabana's from, but he is a seasoned rapper. I'm gonna say that he's seasoned and he knows what he's doing. Now Ryan Cabana, this whole thing is something. His lyrics are self-reflective. This is my summary of the project. It's a self-reflective project that many people can relate to. So feel like he's talking to himself. He's addressing his issues and things that he's has dealt with, but also his problems are common enough, and the things that he's saying are common enough for other people to relate to. He's able to take his pain, his experience, and put it on wax for other people to enjoy. So we're not just listening to somebody complain for 9 tracks. No, he's talking. He's talking to himself, he's talking to you, and he's talking to me. It's a self-reflective track, self-reflective project that many people can relate to. Talks about things like doing things and accomplishing things for people that you love, i.e., he speaks on his daughter, standing guard from our vices and life's pressures and anxieties. There's tracks on here that give you motivation. There's things talking about accepting to changes, dealing with losses, and rolling with the punches. Some of the standout songs that I liked was the first song was Ghost. There's a song that's called Do What It Does. There is a song called Mercy/Revenant that features Crowded Places. And there's also a song called Fury. Now, these were some of my standout tracks, and I'm not saying that they're the best tracks of the whole joint, but these are some of the ones that I really enjoyed. Some of the strong points of this project is Ryan Cabana has a great voice. He has a voice for rapping. It's very smooth. It's a mature voice. He comes off as mature when you hear him rap. So his voice, the quality of the project is great. This is no SoundCloud era, super distorted, crappy microphone, weird sounding beat, hi-hats, I don't know, all that stuff. It doesn't sound like that. This is a professional sounding track, and he ain't no rookie. That's how you know Ryan Cabana really does what he does this. So the production, I really enjoyed the production on this. What stood out to me about some of this production is there was some beat changes. Okay, like with the song featuring Crowded Places, Mercy/Revenant. The beat changes. It's two different songs, but the beat switch is great. And also in Fury, Fury had it turned into like a band type beat. If anybody is familiar with the project called Royalty by Childish Gambino, there are like some band undertones, some band sounding beats on that project. Haven't listened to that project in years. But when I listened to the song Fury, I thought, this reminds me, and not saying he bit or anything, but it just reminded me of Royalty by Childish Gambino. So I think that's a compliment. So the production is really good. And on Do What It Does as well, there's kind of a beat change and you hear like some sampled vocals. It might be his own vocals, but you're going to have to listen to the song to find out what I'm talking about. So there's also a level of theater in this project. What do I mean by that? Well, not that he's being super dramatic or anything. More so he's using, I don't know if it's from a Chinese, Japanese, Korean. I don't know. I apologize for not knowing, but I'm just going to go with Japanese since the word shogun seems to come from Japanese origins. The level of theater is there's like a sampled movie or TV audio in here. So you get to hear it, and it also reminds me of Wu-Tang Clan. RZA's production and the samples of, the swords, fling, fling, da 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 da, all the samples and stuff that were on those tracks. So it reminds me of Wu-Tang Clan, and it gives you that vibe. And the fact that Ryan Cabana is such a proficient rapper, I feel like Ryan Cabana pretty much has it all in terms of completeness that a rapper can have. He can do punchlines, he can do the metaphors and similes, but at the same time, he can relate to the person. He can relate to his audience, or rather, the audience can relate to him. Vice versa. It pretty much goes both ways. So he becomes a human. He becomes a human. You get to see what's going through his mind. Okay? It's not just, when you're like a punchline rapper, all you get is like punchline, punchline, punchline. Oh, he got bars. Oh, he got bars. Oh, he got bars. Well, what else can you do? Because those bars are only going to get you so far. Relate to someone, touch someone's heart. When I hear a fire bar, I go, whew, and it stops there. It pretty much stops there, and I think, oh, okay, that's fire. How did he even think of that? But it doesn't make me think any further. It doesn't touch my heart. It doesn't tap in with the emotional side. So I feel like Ryan Cabana could do that, and it's even reflected in the production of this. So he has a great flow. He uses different flows, and he even displays vocals on the song Behind Enemy Lines. Behind Enemy Lines. He's singing on that, and it's a short song. So let's talk about the features real quick. We'll wrap this up. It features Crowded Places, as I mentioned before, and it features somebody, I'm going to call him Chuck. Now, Chuck spells his name Chvck. Now, I'm going to say Chuck because back in 2012, 2013, when Raider Clan, I'm going to say Raider Clan first, Space Ghost Perp in them, and then ASAP Mob. People may be more familiar with ASAP Mob, ASAP Rocky, Ferg, Bari, Ills, Ty Beats, ASAP, and I used to be like a big ASAP Mob fan. And I listen to Space Ghost Perp, but not Raider Clan so much. But I'm going to give the credit to Raider Clan. Correct me if I'm wrong. They started doing this stuff where they were using like X's for O's. So if I was to say Cool Hand, it would have been CXXL, and then the hand would have been HVND. So they were doing that type of stuff. And I think ASAP Mob more so popularized what Raider Clan started. Once again, I may not be all the way correct with that, but I'm pretty sure it was Raider Clan first, then ASAP Mob. Raider Clan, ASAP Mob. Raider Clan, ASAP Mob. I can be wrong though, but I think I'm right. So he spells his name like that, and that's the reason why I'm saying I think his name is Chuck. It can be Chak if the V is an A, but I'm pretty sure it's Chuck. So both of these features are great. They're the only two features that are credited, and I believe he chose the right features for this project. This song, Mercy Revenant, is with Crowded Places, is great. It gave me, for Crowded Places verse, there's no like beat. It's like an instrumental, and Crowded Places is rapping on it. Mercy me, I need a lot. Tempted me to stop. Like he's talking about, fighting life's anxieties, vices, these things that come at us every day in life. And the beat switches, which I talked about before, and then you have Ryan Cabana on the Revenant part going in. This is one of those songs that starts out, I'm gonna say cinematic with Crowded Places part. Then Ryan Cabana comes in and pumps up the volume and starts going in. And then you have with this feature, Chuck. This is one of those songs that's kind of self-reflective. Ryan Cabana is on the hook, and he also has rapping verses. Of course, it's his album. And Chuck comes in, he says, and Chuck has a good voice. He has a strong presence on the mic. You say I'm cold-hearted, but that's just life. So you see, he's talking some life stuff. And that's the things that we get with this project. And just wrapping it up, this was a great project. I guess that's the best way to wrap it up. Ryan Cabana starts off the project saying, I'm not heartless. I just learned to use my heart less. And the intro track is so important, because the intro track, which is called Ghost, sets the tone for what you're to expect. So he set the tone first with this whole self-reflective this whole self-reflective narrative, as if he's speaking to himself in the mirror, giving himself affirmation, giving himself talking to himself in the mirror, like, this is who you are and this is who you need to be. This is a problem. This is how you can fix it. This is an obstacle. How do you get around it? Shogun 2, Ryan Cabana. So this was a hip hop episode, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Cool Hand Podcast. You could follow the Cool Hand Podcast on Instagram. Follow the Cool Hand Podcast on Twitter. Tap in with me if you want some promotion. Right now I'm wearing Atticus Core. I think I'm saying his name right. I love this hat. I have a few hats by this designer. I actually found out about him through Spencer, the singer Spencer. I guess this is one of his mans, and he like promoted his stuff, and I'm like, I like this dude's style. So Atticus Core, I might be saying his name wrong. I done bought like 3 hats and a shirt from him at this point and don't even know how to pronounce the brand. So this is a horrible brand, a horrible shout out, but I think the hat speaks for itself. Double Dare. This is the Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. And I'm out. Easy.